Craig. Thanks for meeting with me today. Can we go ahead and start off by having you tell me one thing that you feel isn't going as well as it could be right now?
Well, for the past 4 years, I've been going to Colorado State University Pueblo,
Okay.
and I've been studying automotive industry management, which is business degree with business management with focus on the automotive industry, I guess.
Oh, okay.
And coming up here on graduation in December, I haven't applied for really any jobs,
Okay.
partially because I'm not sure exactly what I want to do.
Okay.
So I guess, you know, that's holding me back because there's snowboarding, which is what I love to do most, but
Okay.
it's a bit nervous because, I got this degree in the automotive industry and doing something completely different from it is, I don't know, I guess I feel bad about it.
Yeah. So it sounds like there's some tension. On the one hand, you have all this training in automotive industry management, and on the other hand, you love snowboarding. And so you're approaching the end of your senior year, which is exciting in itself, but at the same time, you're nervous that you haven't started applications, partially because you're not sure exactly what path you want to take.
Right.
Can you tell me a little bit more about how you've explored the two different areas and what's causing that tension for you?
Well, to start with the automotive industry, we've had recruiters come down to our school
Okay.
and giving information sessions about what kind of positions they have available.
Okay.
And then I did work at Winslow BMW over the summer,
Oh, okay.
just doing some detailing.
Neat.
So, and then for the snowboarding industry, I looked at some websites and read job descriptions and locations and whatnot about that. And that was pretty much it for that.
Okay. Can you tell me about a little bit more about this summer that you spent at BMW? What did you like? What didn't you like?
I guess I liked mostly was being around cars was the big plus. Learning, what is different about them and seeing all these different makes and models coming in
Okay.
was definitely interesting. What I didn't like was probably the customers being
Okay.
their attitudes about coming in to get their car serviced, because it's just like you could tell they don't want to be there and they always just have that unhappy feeling of being there. And can you could definitely tell when they talk to you about it. So
Okay. So it sounds like you enjoy the actual physical aspect of working on the cars and being around cars, learning about them. But it's the human interaction and kind of the customer service side of things that is causing you a little bit of stress.
a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I like to help people out, so
Mm-hmm.
that part is good. But I don't like when they just are angry and don't want any, I guess, help to compensate for why they're angry, I guess.
Okay. So it sounds like you're struggling with some of their emotions towards you that you feel aren't necessarily warranted.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we weren't that busy this one time, and this guy has been waiting on his advisor for like maybe a minute, and I just got done parking the car, walked back in the building, and I told him good morning, and he was like, "Good morning, can you help me?" And he was like, "I've been standing here for like ever, nobody said a word to me." And I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry about that. Unfortunately, I can't help you. I'm not a service advisor, but they'll be with you as soon as they can."
Mm-hmm.
And he just kept going on and on about how long he's been there, and I don't know, he just was upset, even though he hasn't been there that long, I guess.
Yeah. So it's frustrating when you have someone that's complaining about something that you feel is a little bit irrational, or that you feel like you have no way to assist with.
Right.
Yeah. Sorry, computers falling asleep on us. So can you tell me a little bit more? I know it sounds like you enjoyed that time during the summer, other than a few customers that were a little bit difficult to deal with. So why are you looking at snowboarding as a possibility as well?
Snowboarding's what pumps my blood, I guess. It's
Okay.
just whenever I do it, it's just freedom, I guess. And
Okay.
there's I don't know. I feel like the best relationships I have with people are through snowboarding. So,
Yeah, I could see that you really light up when you talk about snowboarding. How did that become an interest for you?
uh, well, living in Colorado, we would always go, maybe once or twice a season. And then one of my friends from high school, just he would be going all the time, and he'd keep asking me and stuff. So back in I think it was 2011 to 2012 season, I bought a season pass, and ever since then, I've just been going more, going faster, going farther, doing more, and all that. So
Okay. So it sounds like you definitely enjoy the freedom of being on the slopes. How does that tie in with or motivate you to look in the snowboarding industry for a possible career?
I guess just because, anything, first thing I think about usually when I wake up is snowboarding. So
Okay.
I feel that I would belong in the industry, and talking to some of my classmates in school about snowboarding, they just tell me, like, I feel like you have the mentality of a professional snowboarder and everything. And it's like, well, I'm not going to be a professional snowboarder. I started way too late,
Mm-hmm.
but doing something in the industry is different, or definitely a big consideration for me.
Okay. So it sounds like you definitely want to be in the industry, but don't feel that you fit in as maybe a professional snowboarder. So where do you see yourself fitting in?
I'm not exactly sure.
That's the big question.
Right.
Okay. So what have you looked into so far?
Pretty much just anything, just going to companies' websites and seeing what they have available and seeing if I could possibly do it. But
Okay.
the hardest part would probably be, since I don't have that much experience or any at all in the snowboarding industry, how to portray that, why I should be picked over the next guy because maybe I love it that much more than them. But,
Okay.
you don't want to sound, you know, overly or just go over the top with it. So,
Yeah. So it sounds like you're anxious to also apply for jobs within the snowboarding industry, but you're unsure on how to best kind of go about that and phrase things on like resumes since you don't have the experience that you feel like you would need for those positions. Is that correct?
yes. A lot of the jobs that I've looked at are located in Seattle, Washington.
Okay.
And growing up here all my life, going to school just down the road, not too far. Uh, I see my parents every weekend, if not more, and going to a place where I can't really do that is a bit scary, I guess.
Okay. So is that holding you back from doing application? Now you haven't started applications for these positions, is that correct?
Right.
Okay. So is that holding you back from doing the applications? It sounds like that's something that might be a big consideration for you.
It is, for sure. The other part is, of course, having little to none experience in the field, so.
Yeah. Let's go back to your parents for just a second. So it sounds like location is a big consideration, and that you've been pretty close with your parents, would you say?
Of course. I mean, who doesn't like to come home to mom's cooking, so.
Yeah. So is mom's cooking what you'll miss most, or?
Uh, Not really her cooking, just, being around them, having someone that will take care of you, and just, having that plan, I guess, to always fall back on.
Yeah. Sorry, computer's falling asleep one more time. Just make sure that we're still on the camera here. So it sounds like, you have a great relationship with your parents and you're worried about possibly how distance might affect that.
Yes.
Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit more about that fear and anxiety?
I guess it's hard to keep a good relationship with someone when they're far away. So moving far away would have a nice little wear and tear on a relationship. But I know it doesn't, but it just kind of feels that way, I guess.
Okay. Do you have a relationship with somebody that's moved off?
A couple, yeah.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit more about those?
My best friend Steven, he joined the Air Force and he's in North Carolina, so it's a little bit difficult, not knowing when you'll see him again or for how long and all that. And then there's my sister. She goes to school in she's done with school, but she lives in San Antonio now, and that's a little bit difficult too. So, and her now fiance, I had a pretty good relationship with him too, but he moved to San Antonio with her, so that's a little bit difficult as well, I guess.
He's my husband now, Craig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'm not used to saying that.
Yeah, that's okay. So can you tell me a little bit more about, your relationship with Steven, how my moving to San Antonio with Nick, my now husband, has kind of affected you? You talked about the wear and tear on a relationship a little bit.
Right. So with Steven, it's like he's the home ground. He's the one that got me started on snowboarding. So, he's the first person that would always ask me to go snowboarding, and now not having to be the one to try to get other people to go is difficult. And I just don't feel that I have the best relationship with the people that I attempt to get to go, I guess.
Okay.
And then as far as my sister goes, it's hard to start a conversation for me, I guess. So whenever I want to say something, normally I don't, just because I don't want to come off as awkward or just weird or random,
Mm-hmm.
And phone calls, of course. I hate talking on the phone, really, so, because I never know what to say. I always think of all these things to say, but I never actually say them because I am always thinking of something that I could, or something better I could be saying.
Okay.
And the same goes for Nick as well.
Yeah. All right. Let's go back to what you were talking about with your relationship with Steven. So it sounds like he was the one that kind of got you started going snowboarding, who was always there to go snowboarding with you. And him moving away was pretty difficult. Is that accurate?
Of course,
Yeah.
Every time I think about snowboarding, he's the first one I think about just because he got me started, and I feel he's the one that cares about it the most out of the people I've been with.
Mm-hmm.
And, I want someone to love it as much as I do, and if not more, and he seems to be the only person that I know right now that does, I guess. So, whenever he does come home, I always hope it's during snowboarding season.
Yeah.
But when it doesn't, there's always good times, or when it isn't, there's always good times to be had, of course.
So it sounds like he enjoys the sport just as much as you do, and he might be the one who understands you on the whole, not just as far as snowboarding, but who understands you best.
Definitely. I feel like I could talk to him about anything, so.
Okay. So was that initial connection with snowboarding what kind of makes him your best friend, or?
I feel like that was a good starting point.
Okay.
The easiest way, I guess, to get to know someone is through snowboarding, for me at least.
Okay.
You don't have your phones out. You're not always staring at a screen. You're just out there, and maybe not when you're riding, you're not talking, but or when you are riding, you're not talking, but when you're not riding, you know,
Sorry.
there's
Camera's falling asleep again.
there's definitely conversations that occur and should occur
Mm-hmm.
because you're just not distracted by all these little technologies that basically control us.
So, just after talking to you a little bit about your relationship with Steven, your interest in snowboarding, I do have just a quick question for you. So, we're right on the edge of snowboarding season. I know we talked a little bit before this about how you're anxiously counting down the days till the slopes open. Do you think that being on the edge of snowboard season, that anticipation of it to be here and be here quickly, is something that's influencing that job search, which is what we originally started talking about?
Always, you
Yeah.
know, it was during the summer, you know, you're always thinking about it, but now that we're so close to the season, all these people are coming out with video parts, and you see snow starting to gather on the peaks.
Mm-hmm.
You hear about opening days, and you just are itching to be out there. And I guess my love for it, just even if I don't get to ride every day, if I did something within snowboarding, I feel like it would be satisfying in a way.
So if we were having this conversation in May or June, when snowboard season is still obviously on the mind, as you mentioned, but something that's much farther away, how would that affect your outlook on the job application process?
I guess I would feel more willing to apply because I wouldn't be snowboarding. Well, I wouldn't have, I guess, a job during the time that I want to be riding. So,
Now,
in the summer.
just to clarify, would you be more willing to apply for a job within the automotive industry or within the snowboarding industry? Or both?
Probably both.
Okay.
Snowboarding, I'm a little uneasy just because of location, moving away, but the automotive industry, I'm uneasy because I'm not sure if it's exactly what I feel I should be doing. I just don't get the same satisfaction from the automotive industry that I do with snowboarding.
Yeah. So as you think a little bit more in that, I don't want to say deadline or, but graduation quickly approaches, what would you like to or hope to do moving forward? Are you looking to dabble a little bit in each, apply to both industries, or is there one that you're really leaning towards a little bit more?
I'd say I'm leaning towards snowboarding a little bit more,
Mm-hmm.
just because, you know, I'm young and I have time to, if it doesn't work out, to switch over to the other one. And I know a couple people in the automotive industry that would take me back in a heartbeat, so having that as a backup plan is nice.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I don't know.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit too when we were talking about the location, about your relationship with your parents. So as you're thinking about, you know, I've gone through 4 years of training in the automotive industry, but I'm really kind of leaning towards the snowboarding industry. How do they feel about that? Is that a conversation that you're having or already had?
I've mostly had it with my mom.
Okay.
She's pretty understanding about it because I don't know. I guess no one really understands how much I love it, but she has an idea, I guess,
Okay.
and she believes, you know, as long as I'm happy with what I'm doing and I can make a living doing it, then I should do it. But as far as my dad goes, he's kind of set in stone that, you know, I went to school for this and I should be doing this. So the automotive industry is what I should be doing. But so it's definitely a difficult conversation to have with him.
Okay. So that being a difficult conversation, how does that affect you and your decision?
Well, I always want to make people happy, so I feel like it pushes me back to the automotive industry because I want to make
Sorry, falling asleep again. Okay.
I want to make my dad happy. So, you know, I do something in the automotive industry to make me or make him happy.
Okay. Sounds like there's a great pull for you because on the one hand, you really want to make those around you really happy, but on the other, you want to be happy yourself.
Yep, that's the struggle.
Yeah. How do you think you would like to try and approach and make that balance work?
Um, I don't know if it'll ever balance itself out, but I should always put my own happiness in front of other people's. Because as selfish as it sounds, it's my own life, and I should live it for myself and no one else.
Okay.
Even though that sounds terrible, but
So, with that in mind, as you think about the next, let's say, 2 weeks, what kind of goals would you like to accomplish in that time related to your job search?
definitely do some more research on descriptions and qualifications and whatnot, and of course applying to these jobs because the worst thing that's gonna happen is, you know, I'm not gonna get a call back or anything, or no one's gonna be really interested. But there's always something else that'll open up, and so you might as well put a little bit of effort into what's open now and hope for the best. But if not, there's always something else that will happen.
So, is there fear of rejection there?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Just no one wants to be rejected, but you know, it's part of the game, I guess.
Okay. Well, I'll be respectful of your time, but thank you so much for taking time to meet with me today. And I look forward to hearing about your research into a little bit more into the snowboard industry in the coming weeks.
All right, thank
All right.
you.